So I had a friend get his cat certified. So I went out there with his cat, Dr. Zoe, with the certificate, and fought a lot of media around it. Good attention, right? Just pissed them off. But that got me a lot of traffic, like a lot of traffic.
You're watching Marketing Misfits with Norm Farrar and Kevin King.
What's up, Mr. King?
Oh, just another day in paradise, Sorry, I got a little bit of raspy voice today. Still fighting a cold.
Too many cigars.
Couple of weeks. I wish it was cigars. I wish it was cigars. We're organizing as we speak right now. This will come out after the fact, but I got my big $1 billion seller summit coming up, and the property, we're doing this in Hawaii in May, so I'm not sure when this episode will come out, but the property is a non-smoking property. Can you believe that? We're not allowed to smoke anywhere on this property.
So a whole bunch of cigar smokers going to Hawaii, and you picked the right hotel. Thank you, Kevin.
They picked the exact right hotel, but they sell cigars in the gift shop there, So I'm like, come on now. So what we're having to do is actually the Marketing Misfits. You didn't know this. This is new to you. The Marketing Misfits is sponsoring a cigar lounge. So we got special permission to go to the front of the hotel on the last night of the event. And we're putting up a tent, 2 big tents, just in case it rains or something. And we're bringing a bar out there. We're bringing a lounge out there. And we're spending, I'm spending, your Marketing Misfits is not spending, but I'm spending a pretty penny to actually set up this entire cigar smoking lounge that's going to be sponsored by Marketing Misfits, because, the logo has us smoking cigars. That's what we're known for. And so to make this happen, I think it's going to cost about $8,000.
Wow, and I don't have to pay anything. Thank you.
And you don't have to pay anything.
That's awesome.
You just got to be there and help me close it down. When they first told me, I was talking to Mark, our producer, I was like, so how long? This is going to start after dinner at 9 o'clock. And when do we have to? I said, well, I told him till 11. I was like, no. We're going to be out there till 2 or 3 in the morning. He's like, oh, I said, yeah, people won't be drinking, won't be hooting and hollering, but people will be smoking cigars, having a good time until at least 2. This is the last day of the event.
That's early.
Switch over to, I know, that's what I was told him, but so no, it has to go a little bit longer than that. So it's going to be really cool. I'm sure we'll have some pictures of it when this episode comes out. We can share on the socials or something. But it's going to be really cool, because that's a tradition. At the $1 billion seller summit, we have to have cigars. So I'm like, we got to do this.
I think I know we started having a cigar here and there during events, but when everybody got together, they started following us around, going over to the balcony, and all of a sudden we had 20 people out there.
Yeah.
And now that kind of happens every event we go to.
It is. It's part of the tradition. I mean, so how can we not do it?
Exactly.
So,
and I'm glad it's coming out of your pocket too.
We got a whiskey tasting. I'll just have to say, good thing this event is not going to make me any money. I'm like, what the heck? I'm already losing money. I think our guest today may even know something about that. I'm already losing money. What the heck? Let's just go all in. Let's just do it. Whatever. So it's good.
I hope I see a couple of our CMS cigars, by the way.
I think I gave those away already.
You probably threw them out.
CMS cigars. Speaking of that, we should actually mention the CMS trip that we're doing. You want to talk about that for a second, just to let people know that are listening?
Yeah, sure. Okay. August 4th to the 9th, Kevin and I have put together a new CMS, so that's Collective Mind Society event. Last year we went to the Formula One, and it was a hit. We had 10 to 15 people out there, and everybody loved the race. They loved going out to these really great restaurants, to these events. This year we're going to be doing it through the Canadian Rockies, and I think it's called the Mountaineer, Kevin?
Yeah, Rocky Mountaineer.
Yeah, the Rocky Mountaineer. It's a glass-topped train, and we're going from Vancouver, I think it's Kamloops, and then over to Lake Louise. And then we're staying at that historic hotel that overlooks Lake Louise. It's beautiful, and ending up over in Calgary the next day. Oh yeah, and we've got the ice fields too.
Yeah, the Icefields Parkway. Yeah, we're staying at Lake Louise at the Fairmont Hotel. So we got 2 days on the train, with a day in between in a hotel, with food on the train, beautiful scenery. This is not an event where we're making presentations. This is 16 entrepreneurs, people from different walks of life, just hanging together and spending time together and bonding and networking, talking business, talking personal stuff, and having a good time. Because we found, this started when we were at an event in Paris at this castle outside of Paris. And one night, we're listening to presentations all day long, and there's some good stuff in these presentations. But at the end of the night, we're all sitting around this campfire from like after dinners from like 8 o'clock until like 3 in the morning. And just the talk and the discussions and everything that came out of that was just amazing. It's better than the event. And the same thing happens a lot of times when, we were just on a cruise together, a sellers cruise back in January for Amazon sellers. And every night you and I would basically hold court out on this balcony, and 15, 20 people, sometimes 30 people would join for a cigar or just to sit around. And that's some of the best stuff comes out then from stories that people are telling about old marketing things or stories, how they overcame some sort of hurdle, or just getting to know each other. It's really cool and chill. And that's what we're trying to do with the CMS events, is put together a group of like-minded people just to go and have an awesome experience together and make some good connections.
Yeah. So if you are interested, you can just head over to Collective Minds with an S, society.com. All right, sir. Anything else that we have to catch up on?
No, I think we're good. We got an awesome guest today.
We do.
I know you were chatting up here before we started, so I'm looking forward to this. This is someone that was recommended by the guy that was on our second episode, David Gonzalez. Was the second Marketing Misfits episode. I've gotten a lot of really good feedback from the. We're recording this in advance, but the first episode that came out with Katie, I've had a lot of people say that was like a really kick-ass episode. So if you just discovered us and you haven't listened to, go back and listen to those early episodes. It's really, really good.
Yeah. And by the way, if you're going over to the YouTube channel, that AI Ecom Summit we did the other day is kicking ass.
Yeah, I just checked it. It was already within the first few days, it already had 1,500 views.
Yeah.
And it's like a 3 hour or 2.5 hour, 3 hour thing. That was really good. That was a really good 24 different people we had on there.
Yeah.
Sharing tips on AI for e-commerce. That was
6-minute tips.
Yep. It was really good.
So tell me a little bit about Michael.
Michael, tell you a little bit. You know him better than me. You got to chat him up. David recommended him. Said this is one of the coolest out there marketers. He's a marketing misfit. He's known David Gonzalez, who was a guest on the show and does the internet marketing part. He's known him since the 90s, I think, 1997. So he goes way back. He runs he's one of the co-founders of Baby Bathwater, which is kind of a. I'll let him describe it. I've never actually been to it, but I've heard really good things about it. It's kind of an alternative type of marketing event. And he's just all around really cool guy. So it's going to be some pretty cool stuff.
All right. So I know Michael's been backstage. Let's bring him on. There he is.
How you doing?
Good. How are you, Michael?
Doing great. I was actually listening to you guys. I was trying to sign up for the Collective Mind Society thing, but then couldn't get the link to work. I couldn't get the sign up thing to work.
Kevin?
Couldn't get it to work? What do you mean you couldn't get it to work?
I'm on there. I was like, sign up, and then it just goes to some Amazon page. If I go to register now, it goes to not now.
Oh, well, we gotta fix that. We gotta fix that.
You guys kind of sold me on your preview, and I was listening to the preview. I was like, train to the Rockies, and I love Lake Louise. I was like going to check it out. I was going to surprise you guys and maybe buy it before I got on. I thought that was really kind of fun.
That was really cool. I wanted to see what's going on.
I just figured you got to know. I mean, because I was going to check. That sounds like a great trip, by the way.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be really cool. We did one for the F1, like we're talking, and we did it all first class. I mean, we had like a a private cabana right on the first turn.
Yeah.
That was
We
hot.
did all-
That
all
was
the,
oh
all the top concerts, and we had like VIP seats for the top concerts.
Yeah, but this sounds amazing to get on a train and like Lake Louise and Banff. Like, I mean, it's yeah. I used to be a school teacher, and I spent the summer of summer '96. Me and this girl, we just got in my truck and drove around Canada, and we all those spots. And we the Rockies in Canada are like a
They're
whole
amazing.
nother thing. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's amazing.
Beautiful.
especially
It really
when
is.
you get to Vancouver. That's the starting point. It's just such a great town, and then taking off from there. I think we're going up around Kamloops, aren't we, Kevin?
Yeah. I think that's where we spend the night on one, which I haven't been to. I've been to Lake Louise, and I've been to the other places, but I haven't been there.
It's incredible. Yeah, you said that. I was like, man, check this out. Like, really cool.
And we were having this last year, but at Lake Louise in the middle of summer, it books up pretty quick.
I bet.
And we decided not to do it because we couldn't get the view of the lake. So we postponed it a year, and now we booked it, and now we have incredible. Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
We'll fix that link for you, Michael.
Yeah. I was gonna get on there and see if I, sneak in there. Well, very cool.
So, Michael, what's your story? What's your background? What's your story?
I'll go real fast. I mean, I'm 54, so I'm an older gentleman. My first life, I was a special ed teacher. That was kind of always what I wanted to do from the time I was a kid. So that kind of prepared my life for that, and then did it for a while, and then realized it was just too hard. So kind of found myself lost, mid 20s, like thought that was what I wanted to do. And then like a lot of people, what you thought you want to do isn't. So kind of went to, I was in California, and they would pay for your school, got residency there. So I went to grad school, still with no idea what to do. Just, that's what before the internet, if you didn't know what you want to do, you just go to grad school and just to buy time. Did that, and I actually really enjoyed it, and then got in a lot of debt and realized I got a job I was part of that startup world in the late 90s in Silicon Valley, and I joined a failed startup. So I got involved, and I'd like maxed out my cards, and now in retrospect, it's the dumbest idea ever, but I'm like, I'm in the startup world, so got involved in one of those scams. So I was one of those people in the 90s who didn't make it. Did that, and then more debt, and then moved to Texas, like 97 with my tail between my legs and a lot of debt, and just started selling. Back then, remember those Nextel phones that were radios and phones?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And you sell them to construction. So basically, it's like one of those jobs anybody can get, like $500 base a month, all commission. And I would just drive around and try to sell to construction sites, and I actually realized I was good at selling shit. So did okay, and then I was like, why isn't anybody marketing? And I met a guy, it's still one of my good friends, who owned a web hosting company, and I started like running my own ads anyway. I sold for them, and then I got like another job selling for telco. Remember back selling those like T1 lines? It's like you can get internet and your phone lines.
ISDN. You remember those lines?
Yeah.
ISDN. $350 a month or something like that.
Yeah. So I was in that racket. Yeah, I realized like selling in tech, and then I ended up doing pretty well. I ended up in the database encryption key management space, selling to government and banks. So just a tech sales dude, like to get out from under. It was like pretty easy, just to as long as you can kind of fake the technology and sell, and like not care about rejection. So I guess I learned I don't care about. And then I guess when got married, met a girl in Austin, and then we were never gonna have kids. We were pretty wild. We were partiers, and we were just gonna party together and live like that. And then she got pregnant. We said, okay, we're having a baby. And then I was like, I'm flying to DC all the time to sell my wares. I want to create my own company and stay. I want to be around. If I'm gonna be a dad, I don't want to be a traveling sales guy. So I had in grad school, I'd studied unconscious communication. That's the best way to put it. And that could include like trance work, things like that. So it turns out this thing that people think is weird called hypnosis is actually academic trances. Like hypnosis is real, but not the shit you see on TV, and not the like, hey, I'm a hypnotist. There's no such thing. But there's really good trances, like Carol Gardner's hypnosis program to reduce bleeding during surgery at the Harvard study. That works. So I was like, hey, man, there's all these double-blind studied hypnosis trances in the literature and the academics that I studied. What if somebody were to sell those online, but they were already proven? Like not some like 12, some hypnotist saying they can improve your memory and bullshit like that, but real shit that had studies on ego state strengthening, pain management. So I found them and I called up the therapist who had done the study. He was just sitting there in the literature and said, hey, can I license it? Have you re-recorded the studio? And I became like a record label for shrinks who had published trances. And I called it the Hypnosis Network. And like anybody else, it's out of my bedroom at first. And then it worked. And because we became like the go-to, the New York Times wanted to write an article about hypnosis. They call us up because everybody had a doctorate. It was like real. And this sketchy new age, I like to say it, we actually had science. And it was real, and got that to high 7 figures and pretty good margin. And I paid, it's like a record label. I mean, I paid them a royalty and I did all the marketing, and it was CDs back then, and then we were kind of moving to MP3s. And then, but I saw that was going to cap out. Like there's no way to make that like a high 8-figure business. But I had a bunch of doctors who were selling for me. Like it was mainly affiliate model too. So I had all the best selling doctors, like the Mark Hymans, the Daniel Amens, Sarah Godfrey's, all the people read all the books. Our stuff was good and proven. So I had all those docs who were making a lot of money with me. And we were in their offices, like we were in the Amen Brain Clinic. But I was like, I'm greedy. And I was like, how do I make more money? And they were like, we don't have good supplements, meaning they didn't have like elite stuff. And they were tired of Zymogen and Metagenics and all the physician brands. So me and a doctor and another guy, Buck, he's a good MarTech guy. We created just 4 SKUs of like for like women with hormone issues, sold through doctors as a channel, and then took it direct. And that in about 3 years got to about 50 million a year.
Wow.
And then I had to go. And then what I realized was like, it got so big, I hated it. I loved starting it. And then it got to be what I call a real company. And I'm not a leader, or it's just a certain personality types. I had to go. So I got bought out by my partners and an investor and left that, 12 years ago.
What was the name of it?
It's called RealDose Nutrition. It was right ingredient RealDose. It doesn't exist anymore. But we took the FDA guidelines. So we had the right ingredient, meaning let's say you're buying ashwagandha and there's a clinical study on it, right? Well, you don't know when somebody says, like, I hate to say it, you're on Amazon. Oh, look, we got 500 milligrams of ashwagandha. From where? So basically, I go to the research and I get the same exact source of the ingredient as used in the research. So I knew exactly what it was, which is a lot more expensive, a lot harder. And I actually used the dose that's clinically studied. And so if you go to 99% of the people on Amazon selling supplements, they might have the right dose, they don't got the right ingredient. I mean, imagine like you grow a tomato in a parking lot in Iowa on like shitty soil versus like lush soil somewhere. It's going to be a more healthy tomato, right? And then you extract the lycopene from the tomato. Well, you're going to have more lycopene in one than the other. How are you extracting it? How are you testing? So we were high end, proven, and that's why, and it's a good message. And then we had the doctors behind us.
How do you do that message? How do you actually differentiate when people don't know what they're getting?
We were real, right?
How do you
right ingredient? Well, you have your slogan, right ingredient, real dose. Pretty easy to remember. It's alliteration. And then you have all the doctors they follow talking about it. So if you can launch with partners who are credible, right, it's a lot easier to get your message out because they already have the following. And then once they believe, they'll tell you. And then our ads, we just went after everybody. Like I'm an attack marketer, so like really good at making people look bad who suck. So like we just went after them and told the truth and like, don't buy a supplement before you read this and have a bunch of articles about it. And we train the market on don't buy it until you look at you don't even know that that's not that.
So it's basically an education campaign.
Edutainment, but we had the first,
without dissing them directly, but saying, look, this is what
we had the first VSL for a supplement company ever made. Not the first VSL, but the first 45-minute VSL for a supplement ever made. We made that. We wrote it ourselves. It was pretty powerful. So the people who watched that understood by the end.
Was this all online marketing, or were you doing any television or anything else? Or
No, it's just online. I mean, when we couldn't keep up with that. That's what I say. We were starting to implode when I left. And like, I kind of like we weren't built right. If that makes sense. Like we marketed right, we had good product, but we weren't built right as a company. If that makes sense. Like I know that now, but we were.
What does that mean? You didn't have the layers and the structure in, and the processes and the systems. You're just kind of running by the seat of your pants, or what does that mean?
It grew too. I think there's a problem with growing too fast, especially if you're not seasoned. None of us were really seasoned entrepreneurs. I would say like adults maybe, and we grew fast, and none of us was adults enough or to understand what that meant. And so we started like you can start to see it tearing at the seams. Little things go wrong. Even like like we spent like $70,000 a day on media that's hard to keep track of, and just it's crazy. We knew we were positive, but it got weird, and then sometimes there's set match problems, all kinds of shit.
There's a great book. I don't know. I hope I get his name right. Jeffrey Archer, Crossing the Chasm, and it talks about how important it is for that infrastructure and that rapid growth, and you just can't do it unless you have the infrastructure or the planning. It's a great book, by the way.
Yeah, or the right brain. I mean, I think I could read every book in mankind and still not be able to do it. So I think you also got to know who you are. I think it's the right brain, right experience, and right books, right coaching.
Especially, with growth, sometimes you got to replace yourself.
Yeah, I wish anyway, but that was like kind of got me there, and then I became a workaholic. So the whole reason I started companies to be a better family man. So I had a nice savings, and so that's when Baby Bathwater started. So Hollis, who's still my partner in that, we started Baby Bathwater because we had been to all the other masterminds. I met him on the circuit. I joined every fucking group too, and there's a lot of good groups, but a lot of bathwaters. That's where we were Baby Bathwater. There's a lot of cool stuff about the masterminds, but a lot of bullshit. And so we were like, let's do our own and try to take the baby from the stuff we like about groups and events and minimize the bathwater. You're never bathwater free, as you know. There's no way to be perfect. And we did that, but I did it mainly so I could it's just different. Like it's not the same kind of pressure. So it's a lot of busy work, but I got to be when I got home, and I like to go into an office. When I got home at 4 or 5, I totally attentive to my family and my daughter, and married 23 years with my wife now. Like it was really good for that, not having all that pressure. And as you know, you run a mastermind. There's not a lot of money in them. I mean, you do okay, but it's not like everybody thinks these things make a lot of money. You're crazy. So you do it for the love of it. If you don't love it, you can't do it. So it's great and really fun and a great group. But as you know, you don't bring it home. You're not bringing home the bacon. People think you're making money, but by the time you look at all that, you're not. So it's not a business. It's a movement. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's really fun to do, and it's so cool. Like, and I love love Baby Bathwater. But yeah, it's not a business. It's a calling, and it's just fun. There's more fun than it is. It's not like you're not raking it home or nothing like that with these kind of things. But that was that, and then now my daughter's off in college, and she's well adjusted, and now I just exited Baby Bathwater on really good terms. I'm going to be like member of the year, go to everything, but I'm now leaving because I'm bored and I want to start. Like I want to get back into like consumer marketing and things like that. So it's kind of funny. I'm kind of back on the hunt for a company to start that kind of world. So it's kind of good time. My last day was last Tuesday. So I kind of started Baby Bathwater with Hollis, and that's going to go even better, I think. And also, when you have partners, sometimes it's time for one guy to take over, and I think it's going to even get better now that I'm gone. So it's going to be fun to watch and just be a member.
So what makes it different then for people listening? On your website, it says that, is it a mastermind? Is it a conference? What is it? So you have like a kind of heavy outdoor, kind of more, I don't know if hippie's the right word.
Not hippie. It's not hippie. Not hippie, but I can see. It's the event, because it's actually a community of 200 people. But the main thing is people selection. So it's highly curated. And what I mean by curated is we decided to be the only group that curates on personality over success. So the price will take care of this. The price will take care of the success thing. We only want it. We realize these masterminds that Yeah, I joined some 8-figure ones. People are successful, but if you don't really like people, they're not your speed, it's really hard to want to help. So I found myself helping a certain type of person and not really wanting to help certain people. There's a certain attitude I didn't enjoy personally, and Hollis as well. And so we were like, hey, there's a bunch of people like us who, I hate to say, aren't status monkeys, that are in it, but not to be a big deal. Like they're like, hey, no look at me type people. Um, People who really want to help, like really genuine people that you're either born with it or you're not really fucking enjoy helping people. Like really generous people, super kind, and also like I love this misfits thing. People don't quite fit in, and it's not like, hey, look, I'm a burner, or look, I'm a this, or look, I'm a punk. It's like they're just off a little bit. Like they're their own thing, and so we collect people who are their own thing in whatever way it is. Like it's not like, look, it doesn't need to be crazy or hippie or whatever. It's just they think different and they act a little different, and they're kind, generous, and they're just a little off, and they like a good time, and they want to talk a lot. They want to have a good time. They want to listen to good music, let go, have fun, and be safe. And then we also have this is not a networking group, meaning don't sell your wares here. You're not allowed. So if you come in to get new business, stay away. You can't do it. Don't come here to sell people. Don't come here asking me to promote your book. Don't come here asking for money for your new project. Come here to be. So it's the people first. And then if you're going to have good people, then you provide a great setting when they get together. And so our events we only take over venues where we're the only people there. So nobody else can be there. So we're not going to share a hotel with somebody or any of that. Totally private. 24/7. So I mean, if you want to drink at 4 a.m., you can get it. Eat whenever you want. And so the idea, and give something for people to do. So instead of making them sitting around a circle or be here, it's totally freedom. And so we have great content, but always, 3 times a day, there's 3 choices of something to learn, or don't go, or go snorkeling, or go play a sport. So there's always like swimming or go out in the boat. So go out in the boat or go catch some content. So you can just be that way, right? And you don't have to show up to anything. And we just found with our type of people, because they talk their faces off. They just like talking to each other and helping each other out and laughing. And everybody's just laughing all the time and helping each other with their business, but also personally, and give them a setting where they can just chill and not have a VIP. And we also got rid of the status stuff, like no VIP tickets allowed, no VIP dinners. Everybody's equal. And why we do all inclusive is so nobody can go. Like I found at these other masterminds I was at, like the really rich people would go out to like the really expensive steakhouse and see who could spend the most money, and then the other people were left out. And I was like, none of that. So no showing how badass you are. Like none of that. And so we curate. You have to interview with us to get into an event, and then to become a member, the members have to vote you in. And when they vote you in, it's not about how successful you are. It's like, were you nice? Were you not creepy? Did you not sell anything? So it's really easy to get in as long as you're just a nice person. But hard to get in if you're not nice. So it's kind of the easiest thing to get into in the world because it's not competitive that way. Because we don't care. We never even ask you how much you make or any of that. But people do well. We have some people who do and also a lot of nobodies. I mean, a lot of people even don't know their name, but they do really well. And it's not just online. There's people who own chains of bars, huge chains of window stores. So there's people who do all kinds of cool stuff. It's not just online.
How do you find them? How do you recruit for that? How is it word of mouth, or
it's mainly word of mouth. We run some ads here and there, and they've done okay, but no, almost 95% referral.
How'd you get that going in the beginning, though? Just how'd you get that flywheel?
Well, we knew because when we started, Halls had a hookup at this mountain town in Utah, so it was a good venue, and and we could ski. And then we knew a lot of people then. We were in all the other groups. So we the first time we did it was just like 40 or 50 people, and we seeded it with the right people. We knew the right. Is this our Rolodex? Like, who do we actually like? Like, who's actually fun? I mean, when I say like who's nice? Because both of us kind of have an aversion to cool people. So like we're kind of like a little anti-cool people. Not anti, like you know what I'm saying? Like cool, like just nice folks who are neat, and we had enough of them to get started. That we're in our world. That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. What's
That's
it
really
cost
it.
to go to an event?
Now it's 12,500 all inclusive.
12,500, and then to be a
Yeah.
member.
And then if you get voted in, it's 12,500 to be a member, and then you get half off of every event.
And how many events per year?
3.
3.
And they're cool. Like we got one in New York that sold out in June. I can't wait for that. And that's going to be at this upstate New York on a lake, very like fun. And then the one in October is at Hilton Head on the beach, kind of like divey but fun, like really cool beach vibe. And that's in October, and that's going to be a blast too. And that one's just still shit left. Like New York's was sold out, and it's kind of weird they sell out. But yeah, the Hilton Head one in October is going to be a blast, and I get to go. New York will be my first one as a guest. Like I don't have to go early and set up anymore. It's gonna be, so I'll have my first experience as a guest in New York. So I can't wait. Just
Do
to
you bring
be.
the wife? Do you bring the wife with you, or is it just you that goes?
No, you only can bring your spouse if they're in business.
Okay.
It's not fair to the other attendees. No, because we're talking business.
Yeah.
It's not fair to the other people. No, we have a lot of couples who own companies though. So there's a lot of couples come, but they're both in the business. No, my wife, like, she's not into business, and she does come sometimes the last night because she likes to party with us. But she'll come after everybody's done talking business and have fun and come to the last night dinner and have fun with us. But she ain't in, she's just not into, she doesn't want to talk business. She's bore her silly.
How long does an event last? How many days is it?
4 days.
4 days. Cool. And y'all do them internationally too. I think you did one. I know someone.
Yeah, we do Croatia. Yeah,
Turkey or Croatia or somewhere.
Yeah, we take over an island in Croatia every once in a while, and that's 5 days because we figured the jet lag. And that's crazy. I mean, we can't do that every year. Everybody quit. It's a lot of work, but it's magical. It's just us on the island. It's kind of crazy.
So are these mostly Americans that are in it, or is it people from all over the world?
We're probably 80% American, 20% international.
Okay, cool.
I remember back in the day, and this is probably in the 80s, late 80s, I went to this event. And Kevin, I think I told you about this. This is a guy that would not be part of your organization. So I went in, he went to reach out, shake my hand. I shook his hand. In my hand was a piece of paper. And I'm going like, what the? I open it up. It's a check. He goes, and that's what I made last month. I just went, oh my God.
Yeah.
Get me out of here and get me out of here quick.
Yeah. Those aren't fun. I guess another thing we did well is we're almost half females now. So it makes our events very different. It's not, we're kind of anti-bro too. So no bro culture. It's just people. And then it's a place where females are safe. And then we skew a little bit older too. So it's like, like it's fun 30s, 40s, and then I'm in my 50s and not just all guys, and because I go to other events, it's like 80% guys. You go to ours, it's like 45% female, which I think makes a big difference in the vibe. They all own their own, and they own their own shit, and it's great.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of, and hopefully it goes on forever because I want to be going to it.
So back on this hypnosis thing that you did for a while.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people misunderstand hypnosis. They think it's something that's entertainment. When you go to Vegas or something, somebody hypnotizes people and they do crazy stuff. But I've heard a lot of good things where it can help solve depression. It can help solve a lot of like serious issues. And how does it? I've never understood. How does that work? How does actually? How do you actually? Can you explain it a little?
Yeah.
Behind the curtain, like how do you actually get someone to get into that state where they jump up and down like a monkey if you tell them to?
Well, that's different. There's very different things. So there's the stage people, which I love. That's fun. That's entertainment. And a good stage person is really fun, right? But that's not clinical. That's not going to help you with your problems. And that's really using it's group psychology there. So if you've ever been to like a large group awareness training, it's the psychology of the group. And so unconsciously, you don't want to disappoint. You don't want to make the person look bad. And they're also really good at selecting the right people. So some people are, so you're really playing along. So they're jumping like a chicken, but it's hypnosis and a trick thing, but it's a very different kind of hypnosis than clinical. And it's really cool, but it's relying on the group pressure, and they're really performing. It's what's happening. So they're along for the ride, and they're unconsciously performing with the person. That's what's going on there, and it's really fun and it's neat. But it's not like the kind of hypnosis that's going to like help resolve something.
Right.
Very different. And when those guys start to dabble in that, they should be in jail because it's very different and not what they should be doing. The hypnosis that might help you with something. Again, it's a tool used by psychologists to help with certain things. So it's not always appropriate, but it's a good tool. And all hypnosis is, at the end of the day, it's a relaxed state of focused attention. And it's really an attention game, right? And if you're willing to, it's a fit. You know, you have these the chances that are studied, like there's an induction where you're starting to focus in. And then if you'll allow the guide, person, you know, doing the hypnosis, to get in there as a chunk of consciousness, and you can let go, you can do some really interesting work with beliefs and behaviors. And so at the end of the day, you have to give permission. And so some people, there's nobody not hypnotizable. That's Siegel bullshit. But you do have to kind of want to. So the clinical, like you want it. And then you have to implicitly, unconsciously trust the guide. And sometimes like some of our, you know, like it's not the right fit and you're not going to be hypnotized. You're not going to kind of benefit that way because something about whatever's going on, you're like, some part of yourself's like, no, not going there. But when it's right and you do, you're now like, so you can basically you have 5 plus or minus 2, depending on who you are, things you can pay attention to at any time. Your conscious mind can pay attention to 5 plus or minus 2 things. If you can get a good therapist who knows hypnosis, you can give some of that to that person. And now you're not having to like pay attention, and you can let go. And then with suggestions and then also within the state, that's where a good therapist matters. So then you can actually like make a dent. And it's really, really helpful for pain management. It's really helpful for ego strengthening. It's really good for like some self-esteem things. It's really good for phobias and fears. There's never been any research I've ever seen that's shown it's good for memory, but there's a million people selling it. The research doesn't support that. I don't think it'd be good for depression. It might be a mini tool within a whole rubric of depression therapy. I would never say somebody who's like clinically depressed to go get hypnotized. It's going to solve your problems. I could see it as part of a package. Like a good therapist will have tools, I would hope, and hypnosis might or might not be one of them. So it's not an all-in-one, but it makes a good dent, especially for pain or self-esteem or phobias or things like that of that nature. That makes sense. But it's not a cure-all by any means, but it's a very effective adjunct to whatever you're doing. That makes sense?
Yeah, I know some people use it in combination with like what's that, the EMDR or something?
EMDR and hypnosis go well together.
The light therapy and hypnosis go together.
Yeah, they go well together.
With PTSD and stuff like that.
But it really should only be in the hands of real therapists. I'm really anti people getting certified. Like if you just take a 12-week training and you're seeing people, I think you should not do that. Like I would never do it. I'm not a therapist. I've like edited so many thousands of hours of hypnosis and even helped script. I would never in a million years see a client. I'm just simply not qualified. So I think a lot of people take it too lightly. I think it should be only in the hands of a trained therapist who's licensed in their state, my opinion. Not by motivational speakers, not by those people. A lot of people who are guru types have it in their arsenal, and I think it's dangerous.
So you weren't doing self-help. This was more for training for professionals. Is that correct?
No, it's self-help, but it was from doctorate level psychologists. And it's really cheap. I mean, it's like $97 for a program. I mean, it's very, you know, we had one like for Berta Tembes, or we had one for diet adherence. It would just make it more likely to follow the diet you've been given to. So we had a lot of people who were dietitians or people who wrote best-selling books on their diets would sell our program because they're more likely to follow the program. Like Mark Hyman with this, like back then he was in the thyroid diet. Well, people were more likely to follow his program if they had our program with it. So it's a really good adjunct for adherence. Like, and it just told you like find a thing to follow and this will help you follow it. That's all it did. And personal trainers loved it. So we had a big channel of those people selling it because their programs would work better if they got our program. Does that make sense? So
they're hypnotizing themselves? it taught them how to do it to themselves, or
No, they gave me, they got a CD. I mean, people listen to it at home.
okay, so you just listen to the CD, and the guy on the CD or the woman or man would hypnotize the person as they listening. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay, okay.
25 minutes. And then over time, like the diet adherence one by Roberta, I mean, it's like 90% more, we studied it, like 90% more likely to follow the diet they're given. And so people who had diets to sell or dietitians, it was just really positive. Here, take the CD home or buy that CD, and then we give them an affiliate commission. So it was just,
Mm.
that was the channel. And we had like famous sports psychologists and a lot of coaches and stuff. But then like, hey, go buy that. It's like, that was like only 2 sessions, like $45, and go buy that, and then that would make their training better. That kind of thing.
Did you have any kind of continuity on that from a marketing point of view, or upsells or anything?
No, ethically. So for that, no, I couldn't do it ethically. No, we sold it to them. A lot of people go back and buy a different program because it worked from a different therapist. But no, we decided not to do that. I decided, and I know how to do all that. Like I know, like Bill Harris at Centerpoint, I know how to do that. I just thought it was unethical, and I was doing just fine. We were affiliate for good stuff, but no, I didn't want to do that to people. I didn't want to take people who weren't doing well in their mental life and take more money from them. I felt good about $100. If they liked it, want to buy some different program for another $100, great. We were doing enough volume. Yeah, I could have made a lot more. It just didn't seem right. I
You're kind of
didn't get
you're
in this
kind of
game to do that shit.
you're kind of early on that too. I mean, this was what, in the 2000s.
Yeah, I launched in 2004.
So yeah, I mean, with all the mental health stuff now, that has it
Oh my
come back?
God.
Is there someone else doing? I know you said you're not doing that anymore. Is that company still around, or someone else crushing it
No,
in that space now?
that's gone too. Every time I leave, they go away. It'd be a great time for that. But there's actually Siegel's doing some good stuff in the space. There's a lot, and then the difference between guided imagery and hypnosis is very distinct. I'm Bill Ruth Napster, Health Journeys. I think she actually is real out of all of them. I go to there, like Health Journeys, Bill Ruth, I think she's still around. It's really good guided imagery and some hypnosis, and I'd refer people to her all the time. If our stuff didn't work, I'd be like, sorry for wasting your time. Here's a gift certificate. Squeeze over there. I think she's the only game in town that I would like call ethical and high quality. But yeah, it'd be a good time for it. And then, Siegel over at Stanford, he's just doing very direct medical hypnosis, which is good. I think it's limited, but it's good. It'd be a good time for it. I just don't know if I want to do it.
Is it a challenge to market that because of the misconceptions?
It was for us, yeah. But then it was, again, the partner model was so great, having the experts. So I would go every day because I had no money at the beginning, and anybody blogging, anybody with the following, I'd say, hey, I read your blog, blah blah. Think you might be interested in this program, blah blah. Really nice, and I'd really personal letters and emails, and then I'd say, do you want to try it? And they say, sure. Usually, I'd send them the thing, and then I'd follow it up. It's just over and over and over, and then they say, I really liked it. I say, what did you like about it? They say, blah blah blah, and I say, can you write that? I say, sure. And then I'll give you a commission. So it's just really like coaching them how to do that. And it's all I did, because I was a sales guy before. Every day, my Rolodex is potential partners. Every day, just calling them up and sending the thing and following up. And again, not giving them some swipe. It's like, what do you like about it? How would you do it? And then coaching them through it. And you do that every day for a couple of years, you got a lot of affiliates.
One of the
Not this wham bam, thank you, ma'am. You have to work.
that's what I was going to touch on, is that it sounds like, yeah, you were a sales guy getting out there every day. I know a lot of those guys too, but a lot of them are very unethical. And the way that your approach, you did it, you were ethical. I mean, how many other salespeople would not try to do the old upsell, downsell, cross sell? That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it just didn't seem right for that. Not against it in some things, but mental health is a little too serious to be doing that.
Right.
You're right. It just seems a little off to do that to somebody, because they're vulnerable.
Yeah.
It's not why that's a weird thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and I made a lot of enemies. I mean, so that we were talking. I mean, I went out with a lot of stuff I believed in, and pissed off a lot of people. And pissing off people is a great way to market, I figured out. So
Why? What? That's an
Done that my whole life.
That's an interesting point. I always say the same thing. I say if you're pleasing everybody, you're pleasing nobody. And so if you don't have
I agree.
someone, I've told stories of this to Norm and stuff about my newsletter where someone will complain to high heaven about something that I put in my newsletter and say this is inappropriate. And I actually love it when I get that. I actually love it when someone, if it's everybody, that's a problem. When you get a couple people that are very vocal and very offended, from a misfit or marketing point of view, why is it? What have you learned about? You just said that you found that pissing off people is really good marketing. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
I took the hypnosis thing like there's the national. I'll just say it. The National Guild of Hypnotists. They make all the money certifying people, right? 12 weeks. So I had a friend get his cat certified. So I went out there with his cat, Dr. Zoe, with the certificate, and fought a lot of media around it. Good attention, right? Just pissed them off. So that got me a lot of traffic, like a lot of traffic. And then I had to convince them, like, hey, but there is real hypnosis. And then I don't know. Remember remember The Secret? That documentary came out in 2008.
Right.
Yeah.
The crazy new age. So they wanted me to be an affiliate. So like they sent out DVDs to everybody. Cause, I had a big list at the time, and they, he's in hypnosis. He must love this shit. They sent me the movie, and then I was like, I watched it. And me and my wife were like, oh my god. And so I wrote back, not only am I not your affiliate, I'm your enemy. And so I had about 150,000 people on my list, and then I wrote an article the next day called "The Power of Negative Thinking," which is like actually good. Negative thinking is actually very healthy psychologically.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of research behind thinking negatively is very powerful and good. Like for self-help, if you actually understand psychology. And I basically said, yeah, and then I just bashed The Secret. I was like, positive thinking, like this is the dumbest thing ever. And just manifestation, like what are you talking about? So this went off, and I got about 10% of my list is unsubscribed. But then in a month, it was double. Because everybody started talking about it, sharing it with their friends. I had a bunch of people call me. I made friends for life out of a lot of business alliances happened from that email. And I just attacked them for like a month. And it gave me a whole new following. A lot of brands started wanting to associate with us. And so I lost 10%, gained way more just by, because I was like, I even said in the middle, like, I hate this. Like very, but I proved it with science. So I was like, this is really dangerous.
Anybody ever come after you legally for doing that?
Now what are they going to do?
Yeah.
It's an opinion.
Tell me they can prove manifestation.
It's the opinion. Yeah. And the cat has a certificate.
Yeah.
Prove that you can like put dollar signs on your wall, look at them, and become a billionaire. Like, give me a break. It's just crazy. Or they were saying stuff like, if you're sick, it's because you brought it upon yourself. Like, that's a terrible belief. Really dangerous shit.
You did the same thing with baby bathwater. You just said that it's all about the people, and you're very selective. So it's finding your tribe and finding your group. And too many people, I think, when it comes to marketing, they want to be too PC. They don't want to offend anybody. What if this one group over here doesn't like us?
Yeah.
We got, and I think that's bad. Just recently, with all this cancel culture, I don't know if you saw it, but the roast of Tom Brady on Netflix.
That's amazing.
That I don't know if you saw that or not, but I was like,
I did.
This is freaking. Some of it was really funny. Some of it was like, okay, next someone else, get somebody else up there. But the un-PC-ness of that, and
that's amazing.
And I heard people talking about it the next day on some of the sports talk shows about this actually may be a good thing for this cancel, to get rid of some of this cancel culture.
No, I think
did that. And I
think it's good.
What do you think from the marketing point of view of Tom Brady, who's successful? He's got all his money, putting himself out there like that and doing that when he's trying to get a career, in broadcasting and still going to be working with the NFL. What do you think from a marketing misfit? It's going
to be great for him because people think he's too plastic, and so he's not. And then Belichick came out really good. It's going to do well for him. But yeah, I think I'm not like the cancel culture thing is what it is, but like it's just taking a stand. So the cancel culture is one thing. I don't know if I want to go into that, but it's just taking a stand and saying it how it is, and then not worrying about getting everybody. And there are like for baby bathwater is fantastic for somebody like me and a lot of people, but there's other great groups. I mean, I think there's other great business masterminds that are just for somebody else. Like it's not like, oh, we're the best, everybody else sucks. So I have like some things suck, but there are other great groups that are just maybe not my cup of tea. And when people interview and apply, I send them somewhere else sometimes. I'm like, you're not going to get, like, we're not for you, but you're great. Go over there. It's also just knowing you don't have to get everybody, and also not everybody sucks. It's just like knowing where you're for and who you're not, and being honest about it. And then it's not even bashing it with the supplements. It was because people were doing criminal shit or hypnosis, but in the business mastermind world, I don't really do a lot of bashing because I think there's a lot of great groups, but we're just for a certain type, and just being really clear about what you're for and what you're not, because you don't want somebody to come to your thing and not be happy, right? I mean, why do you want somebody to come to your event if it's not for them? What's the point of that?
Yeah.
No point.
There's no point.
They're not going to come back anyway. So, and then there's other groups for them that are great. There's a lot of, I mean, like you have one, I mean, like, I'm like, I want to go on your train trip, right? And it's just different. And also, it's also time in your life. There's a lot of variables for who you want to be around when, and it's all good. I think just, you know, I think there's actually a lot of really cool business masterminds out there. More so, like we started 10 years ago, and there's a lot of new ones popping up that I really like. I think are really cool.
What is it about the people that you're around that makes the biggest? What's that saying that the 5 people you hang around with the most is who you become? Do you think there's any truth to any of that, or do you think that's just a marketing?
I think it's more. I don't think there's any much psych truth. I mean, there is a who you're around. I mean, it's contagious for sure. But I don't know, man. It also depends on your goals. I mean, sure, yeah. If you want to hang around and be successful, then maybe if you are only around like people thinking that way, it'll rub off for sure, and then you're more likely to be successful. But that's never been my goal. But I think, yeah, I think there might be some truth to that. For me personally, it's not what I'm about. I kind of like to hang around with like a lot of non-business people. I like to hang around with a variety of folks who are different than me, more for a richest of life kind of thing. So I kind of violate that. Maybe that's why I'm not rich. But I prefer to do well enough, and I like to be around business people, and I do like to learn, but I choose to be around a little more misfitty people. I enjoy them more, and I enjoy that life better because humor is super important to me, and just chill. And I like to be around unambitious people, so they rub off of me because it's not all about that for me. I'm ambitious, but then I like to be around unambitious people so I can stop that shit sometimes. Just stop all that crap because I can get caught up in it like anybody else. So I have a crew that doesn't give a shit about the business stuff, and that's healthy for me. You know what I'm saying? Like it's.
So how do you differentiate between it's time to be serious and time to play?
That's a tough question. I think I go more to play. It's funny because I'm starting over now, and I'm trying to get serious. So I don't know. I'm trying to actually figure out that how to be more serious. Because right now it's like I want to do one more rodeo. It's kind of like I want to do it, and it is hard to get that frame of mind because I've been out of it for so long. So I don't know. I'm actually looking for that answer. I'm not sure. I haven't figured it out yet.
What are some things that you're thinking about right now that you may go into? What are some of the things you're toying with?
Well, actually, it's a fun thing. So when I was thinking about leaving baby bathwater, after I realized my daughter's doing fine, like stopped calling me from college. I'm like, okay, she's happy now. She's not calling. You know, when they stop calling, they're all right. So I was like, I want to change. And then I was like, I'm 54 and I'm a social science researcher, and I have no idea how to make a fucking decision according to science, right? I'm like, how do I make a decision, right? So I go to research, and I still like research, and there's a lot of really proven frameworks for making good decisions that are in the academic literature. And so I started making frameworks, right, to make a good decision. And then I started talking to all my entrepreneur friends, and I was like, hey, how many decisions do you make a week where if you make the wrong one, you might lose a little money, right? Almost everyone's like, well, the average, by the way, in my informal survey of 40 entrepreneurs now is 7. 7 decisions a week that kind of matter. How many big ones a month? 1 or 2. But 7, like, if I make the wrong one, there's some financial consequences. Not huge, maybe, but real enough. And like, how do you make decisions? Almost nobody had a process. And if they did, it'd be like my gut, or I compare the pros and the cons, like really, like really not good. So one idea I had then was I might create a decision-making course for founders on how to make a decision with different frameworks, and then create AI on the back end to give you a decision assistant. So I have a partner in that who can she's a badass AI person, and also adjunct professor at Miami. And she also used to be COO at World of Warcraft. She can run fucking coding teams. So we might come out with a product for founders and executives on decision making. It's one idea. Because I'm like, but then I'm not sure, because it excites me a little bit, but it's not like, how do I say it? I think it would do well, but is it wow? And then how big could it get? I don't know if it could scale to something that big. So that's an idea. But then the first step of decision making is to widen your options. So the first step in any decision making process is never just have one thing, never have two, never have three. You need three or more before you even start to make a choice. So I'm widening my options. That's one idea, because I think it's valuable. But then that one, do I really do it, or do I get it started and leave it? But then, and that one's fun intellectually, but I don't know how big that could get. That makes sense.
Mhm.
And then I really, really love products and health. So I'm dabbling around with some friends about creating a skincare line or something like that. So I might do that. I'm not sure. And that could be really fun, because I think I have access to ingredients nobody else has. I could really make a change there. So I'm interested in that. And then I might even create an association. So there's some stuff I can't tell you, but I have two other ideas that I can't quite reveal yet. But yeah, I'm in that mode where I'm trying to widen the options as opposed to just doing the first thing I think of.
Are you looking for something to
You know
have
what
a
I'm
big
saying?
exit, or are you looking for something that's just going to fulfill you?
Both. Exodus is always the way to look at it. I want something with a high cash flow. So it makes So I want it to make a lot of money and fulfill me. But yeah, I want to have one more. Like I said, Baby Bathwater has been a sabbatical of sorts, meaning it's been 10 years of not making a lot of money. So it'd be nice to have one more hit. So psychologically and just for the money. I mean, it's nice to have a lot of money. So I'm greedy that way. So both. I want it to be something that lights me up, but I also want to make real money one more time.
What would you say is your
That's kind of
superpower then when you're making this decision? What is your inherent superpower that across all these businesses that you've done, the hypnosis, the selling, the baby bathwater, the nutrients,
I think it's
nutrition, what is it?
I think it's the creativity. I think the things I think of are actually a little different and they work. I mean, all the little ideas I've had have worked. I've had other things in the middle that worked. It's the creativity of the idea, and I can start something for a year on my own. I mean, if I have a year in me to get something started. I can be tenacious for a year, and I kind of do know the steps. So I can create a pretty unique brand idea, and I don't mind starting. Meaning I could do those things and get the right people and get something going. My reverse superpower is operating and leadership. I'll never be good at that. So that's my unsuperpower is that, because I get bored. But yeah, I think I'm pretty good at looking at an ecosystem in a market and understanding the gap and have a pretty good idea of what's missing and then how to position it. Right, and then coming in with something that's different enough that's solving a need. Like Baby Bathwater is nothing like that. There's nothing like Hypnosis Network. There's nothing like RealDose. We solved a problem. You see a market. Where's the flaw? What in the decision making one? Nobody's even thinking about it, which is and then that would be inventing a discipline. But everybody's teaching self help and all this founder structure and how do you do your day and the perfect morning and all that. But I'm like, all that's great, but if you can't make a decision right, what's it matter? So I think there's a gap in all the entrepreneur training.
I think that's
when
fantastic.
I think of decision making, I'm like, what's the one gap? So it's a good gap, and all these entrepreneurs have become self-help fiends, and all that self-help's great, and I'm for it all. There's so many good people teaching so many good things to entrepreneurs about self-growth, and I think it's really good people out there, but I think they're missing this one thing. So why not come out with the one thing? So I'm pretty good at finding the gap, I guess. Or if I go to skincare, the one I'm looking at there's nothing. It's solving the problem there. I mean, that there's nobody with it. So that kind of thing.
And one of the things that you've solved, just to go back a bit, knowing your strengths. So especially in partnerships, if you go out there and you want to start a new business, Kevin and
Right.
I, for example, we have different, different strengths. And
Yes.
you were talking about, operations, that. And so many people will go in with people that have the exact same
Right.
strengths that they screw themselves right from the beginning. But what you talked about, knowing those strengths, and even before knowing your audience that you're going after, makes a
Right. You
huge
gotta know.
difference. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to know who you're going after, and you don't have to get everybody. So all you have to get is a certain percentage of the people. Like you have to find the people that want what you have, and there has to be enough of them. But you don't have to get everybody. I mean, some people don't care if their supplements suck. They just want a deal. Or some people like New Age, and they don't care if there's science behind their stuff. Great. It is what it is. Yeah, partnerships are fun. I've always had a partner. I enjoy it. I'd rather work. And also, it's like knowing yourself. I am not a maverick. Like I'm not my own man. I don't like to, like I'm not a loner. I like to like win with other people. So I know that about myself. Like it's not fun for me unless I have a partner to like win with. It's just not. So like, but I know that some people are totally fine on their own, and they pull all the strings and they like it. Like I like to talk to somebody in reality test, and I like to have a partner, and I like to talk a lot. So I like to have a partner to talk to, but I'm not this lone guy, genius dude who can just think of it all. I like to have somebody to be creative with and do stuff with and be accountable toward. So I know that. So I'm not ever going to start like the Michael Lovitch thing. And I also know I like to be behind the scenes. So it's little things like that.
Well, this has been great, Michael. That's just been awesome. We've been going at this over an hour already.
Really?
It feels like we're just getting started.
I know. This is fun. I like I like it.
This is cool.
Yeah,
This is cool. If people want to learn more about you or find out or follow you, what's the best way to do that?
Obviously, if you want to go to Baby Bathwater, it's babybathwater.com, because if you're feeling this, like it's definitely the best event and group if this resonates. And then just find me on, I guess I don't really like social media, but I'm disciplining myself to be on LinkedIn a lot. So I'm going to start doing a lot on LinkedIn. So this Michael Lovitch, whatever the URL is, LinkedIn's the place that I'm responding to people messaging me. Yeah, there's not many Michael Lovitches. I think I'm pretty easy to find. Anyway, yeah, I like what you're doing with this podcast and the back end thing you guys are doing. Sounds really, really cool. I'll probably reach out to you guys after this. What you're doing could be interesting to me. All right.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks, Michael.
Cheers.
Yeah. All right, buddy. That was awesome.
That was good. Yeah, we can keep, people always tell you make these podcasts like 30 minutes because people aren't going to listen past 30 minutes. But how? When it's that good, when Michael's talking like that, when it's that good of content, we could keep going. But, there does reach a limit where, but you break them into, I guess we could always do something, break them into 2 parts or something like that. But yeah, that was awesome stuff.
Yeah. And one thing I found out is that that product you're trying to sell on Amazon, those pavement tomatoes, are not going to make it.
Yeah, no, I thought I was differentiating enough, It's a special kind of concrete that's made from a special sand. And so I just thought it would help it would help, but I guess, I'm going to have to rethink that.
You got it straight, right from Michael. Yeah. Okay. So that was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. He's a great guy.
Yeah, for sure. It makes me want to go to a Baby Bathwater, and hopefully we can get him to join us on the Collective Mind Society trip.
Yeah. Could you do me a favor?
What's that?
Fix the friggin' link.
Yeah, I just checked it. I don't know what the heck happened there. I'm like baffled as to what happened there. But I'm glad we caught that. I'm glad because we would have been wondering like, why does nobody want to come with us?
He's self-conscious,
Yeah.
Okay, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed the podcast today, and we will be bringing up a new podcast every Tuesday. So we will see you then.
Take care, everybody.